What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another very exciting video. In this video, we are going to be talking about Alibaba, which is a fairly large position in my portfolio that I have built out over the last couple of years. And what I want to do in this video is I want to take a look at their upcoming earnings here in a few days and go over what analysts are expecting, what personally I am looking for, as well as take a look at their valuation, EPS, and revenue numbers and how they have trended over the last couple of quarters and where I think they are going in the future. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below, and if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you hit that sub button. Let's start off by taking a look at their stock chart. We can see here today the stock has basically traded sideways over the last 5 days. However, it is down around 3%. Over the last month, up around 6.5%. If we look year to date, however, the stock is up around 5%, but it had a very interesting move at the start of this year where it spiked all the way up to $120, but then fell all the way back down to $81. If we look over the last year, the company is up around 6.3%. However, over the last 5 years, the stock is down almost 50%. Alibaba is expected to announce their earnings on Thursday, August 10th, and analysts are expecting them to come in with EPS of $1.65. This compares to $1.40 last year. And Alibaba is a company that you have to be careful with because a lot of times you will see their numbers represented in Chinese yen. So if you just Google the numbers, you can see the EPS is listed at 14.46 Chinese yen, and then revenue comes in at 224.91 billion Chinese yen. And you can always convert these numbers from Chinese yen to US dollars. We can see that 1 Chinese yen is equivalent to 0.14 US dollars. So when you type in 14.46 Chinese yen, you get $2.01. And the reason this $2.01 is so different than the $1.65 that NASDAQ has is because of non-GAAP versus GAAP earnings. So you can actually go into Alibaba's previous earnings reports and digest the information and figure out what they're including in non-GAAP versus GAAP earnings. One of the biggest ones you can see in here is stock-based compensation. So that is different between GAAP and non-GAAP earnings. In GAAP earnings, they reduce stock-based compensation. They take it out of the equation, but in non-GAAP earnings, they leave it in. So that's why the numbers generally look a little bit better for non-GAAP EPS. We can also take a look at Yahoo Finance to get an idea of where EPS numbers will come in at. There are currently 32 analysts covering fiscal year 2024, which, keep in mind, Alibaba just ended their last fiscal year for 2023 last quarter. So they are just starting their fiscal year 2024. And we have 32 analysts covering that year, and they have an average EPS estimate of $8.57, a low estimate of $7.14, and a high estimate of $10.69. We have 20 analysts covering the current quarter, and the average EPS estimate is $2.03. So keep in mind, all of these numbers are on a non-GAAP basis. And if we look out to 2025, we can see that the average EPS estimate comes in at $9.58. We have a low estimate of $7.44 and a high estimate of $13.46. One of the reasons I added Alibaba to become a very solid position in my portfolio is because of its valuation. We can see that currently Alibaba is trading at a forward P ratio of 10.95. And we can run the same calculations ourselves. Here we have earnings that are projected for next year. We have the average estimate again sitting at $8.57, the low at $7.14, and the high at $10.69. And then based off the current price of $96.56, we can come up with the following PE ratios: 11.27 for the average estimate, 13.52 for the low estimate, and then 9.03 for the high estimate of EPS. And we can do the same thing for their 2025 numbers. We come in with an average PE ratio of 10.08, a low PE ratio of 12.98, and a high PE ratio of 7.17. And again, keep in mind, when I say high, I'm referring to the EPS number being the high estimate. So for the high for 2025, analysts are projecting $13.46, which would value Alibaba at a 7.17 forward P ratio, which is insanely low in my opinion. One of the things I find very interesting about Alibaba is how its EPS and its revenue have evolved over time. Here we're looking at the last 5 years. We can see all the way back to 2018, they were bringing in around $3.91 when we look at their trailing 12-month EPS. Right now, they are bringing in about the same at $4. During the pandemic, they got all the way up to numbers in the $9 for EPS. And when we look at revenue, this gets even more interesting. And that's because when you look at the end of 2018, Alibaba brought in $53.1 billion in revenue. And they have doubled up since then to over $126 billion in revenue. And that is even down over 8% from where they topped out at $134.5 billion in revenue. So when I look at their revenue and compare it to where their EPS has gone over the last 5 years, I would expect that their EPS would have grown in a massive way. But what this tells me is that they have invested a lot of money over the last couple of years into their business, and that's what has led to a lot of these negative earnings situations over the last couple of years. We can see here they came in with 31 cents for the quarter, then they came in with a negative 44 cents quarter, and then we could see even a negative $1.09 quarter. So overall, they have been struggling over the last couple of years, but I believe this is a similar situation to what we have seen with Amazon, where they have been investing heavily into their business. And personally, over the next couple of quarters, I think we'll start seeing this trailing 12-month EPS number continue to rise. They bottomed out here at 92 cents, but I think they could easily get back up into the $8 range. So when we jump back and look at the last 5 years for Alibaba's stock price, but now we consider the fact that revenue has over doubled up in the last 5 years, and EPS is at the same level it was 5 years ago. However, it is rising and has the potential to go up to the $8 range. We look at this stock that is down almost 50%. And in my opinion, the metrics behind the business are way different than where the stock price should be trading at. There's a very strong differentiation between the market and where they are valuing Alibaba and what the business is actually able to produce. And that is why I have built out such a strong position in Alibaba over the last couple of years, because I think that they have a lot of upside potential. Again, if the stock were to go up to where it traded at the end of 2018, we would see almost a double up in price from where it is currently trading. So personally, what I'm looking for from this quarter's earnings announcement is strong EPS numbers. I want to see Alibaba continue the trend that they've shown over the last couple of quarters of increasing their EPS numbers and start heading back towards that $8 range. I think a lot of investors have lost confidence in China, and I think if Alibaba is continuing to grow their EPS numbers, that will gain a little bit of confidence for investors in China and its overall economy. But with all of that said, keep in mind, do not buy a company just because some random guy on YouTube talked about it. Make sure you are doing your own research and looking into companies that meet your risk tolerance as well as your time horizon. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you hit that sub button. And as always, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day.